The Atlantic Slave Trade by Cameron
and Patrick.
Okay, so the Atlantic slave trade started in the 1400s. Europeans started by trading salt and gold across the Sahara Desert, but they needed a middleman to cut down their labor to bring gold from the West African kingdoms across the Sahara Desert. King Henry began to find ways to go to the West African kingdoms without crossing the desert, so that was not an issue. The first slaves were brought to Portugal in 1444. Then the Portuguese began to make trade regulations which grew into the Atlantic slave trade. It was operated as a triangle between Europe, Africa, and the Americans, as you can see in this picture. Olaudah Aquino from Nigeria was a major part of the end in bringing down the slave trade. He was able to buy his freedom, which is a rare occurrence, and he wrote down about his slavery, almost like keeping a documentary or a journal. His writings had a stirring effect on the public's opinion. Slavery was abolished between the years of 1904 and 1883, with Haiti being the first to abolish slavery, with America abolishing it in 1883. Cuba and Brazil did not end slavery until the late 1800s. Africa was colonized by the Europeans in the early 1900s. A lot of Africa was colonized by Europe. To push into Africa was because of three main reasons: political, economic, and social reasons. In this picture, you can see which regions of Africa were colonized by the different countries.
Due to colonialism in Africa, they can have no more political development. Because of colonialism, polities in Africa have suffered from uniform colonial legacies of racism, stereotypes, and misconceptions. In 1950, the Africans were tired of colonialism and formed nationalist parties in all the colonies of Africa. World War II had a great influence on this action because of the Europeans recruiting the Africans in the war to protect a free country. But after the war, the Africans questioned, why should we fight for the Americans when our country isn't free itself? To them, Nazism was just as bad as colonialism. Even after colonialism was abolished, it still left a mark in the way that Africa runs. To this day, there have been multiple human violation rights, economic mismanagements, and endemic corruptions. It also replaced pre-colonial government structures with Western ones, creating a culture of kleptocracy.
Thank you for watching.